In every modern conflict, public attention often focuses on the weapons most frequently used and most easily captured on camera: downed drones, striking missiles, or aircraft in direct combat. However, there is another kind of force operating more quietly, rarely seen, rarely highlighted, yet continuously influencing an opponent's decisions from a distance. The MiG-31 belongs to that category. This aircraft is not a symbol of the latest technology, nor is it a fifth-generation icon. Yet to this day, Russia continues to operate it, modernize it, and make it part of its strategic calculus in the war in Ukraine, not out of nostalgia, but because of its function. The MiG-31 Foxhound was born from a very specific need. The Soviet Union designed it to counter the threat of high-speed strategic bombers operating over vast airspace with minimal ground radar coverage. Therefore, the MiG-31 was built with a focus on speed, range, and the ability to detect targets from long distances. This fundamental character has not changed. Even though the world around it has shifted, Russia assesses that the need for long-range air surveillance and strategic deterrence has not disappeared. In fact, in the war in Ukraine, that need has re-emerged in a different form. Rather than retiring the MiG-31, Russia chose a relatively pragmatic approach. The basic platform was retained while systems deemed key were updated. Radar, avionics, and weapon integration were enhanced through modernization programs like the MiG-31BM. The airframe remains the same, but its capabilities are adapted to the modern threat environment. This approach shows one important thing: Russia does not always pursue superiority through expensive and risky new designs. In many cases, improving what has already proven itself is considered more sensible, especially in the context of a prolonged conflict. However, the most significant change occurred when the MiG-31 was given a new role through the MiG-31K variant. Here, Russia did not merely update old capabilities, but fundamentally changed the aircraft's function. The MiG-31K is configured as a launch platform for the hypersonic Kh-47M2 Kinzhal missile. High speed and ability to fly at high altitudes make the MiG-31 suitable for this role. Launches can be conducted from within Russian territory, far from the direct reach of Ukrainian air defenses. Thus, the aircraft does not need to take high risks, yet still produces significant strategic effects. In the context of the war in Ukraine, this is the main reason the MiG-31 remains relevant. This aircraft is not used for aggressive frontline patrols, not for air duels, and not for direct support of ground troops. Its role is more limited, yet precisely for that reason, it is safer and more controlled. Every time a MiG-31K is detected taking off, Ukraine often responds with nationwide air raid alerts. This response is important to understand. Even without certainty that a missile will be launched, the mere presence of the aircraft is enough to trigger full-scale readiness. In modern warfare, constant alert status has a cost. Air defense systems must be active, personnel must be on standby, and decisions must be made under time pressure. The MiG-31 in this role functions as a tool that forces the opponent to react, regardless of whether an attack actually occurs. From Russia's perspective, this is efficient asset use. The MiG-31 is not excessively exposed, not forced to undertake high-risk missions, and not used as a propaganda symbol appearing too frequently. It is used as needed, with the aim of creating strategic uncertainty. The number of MiG-31s Russia possesses is also limited. Leading estimates suggest about 130 to 140 units are still active in various variants. Of that number, only a small portion is directly involved in the Ukrainian context, primarily the variant capable of carrying the Kinzhal. However, this limited number precisely clarifies how Russia uses it. The MiG-31 is not a tool for mass air dominance. It is a tool of pressure. As long as Ukraine cannot predict when a MiG-31 will take off and when a missile will be launched, the threat remains alive. For Ukraine, the MiG-31 is viewed as a strategic, not tactical threat. The aircraft is rarely seen, but always taken into account. It does not dominate Ukrainian skies, but it dominates planning and preparedness. Meanwhile, from the Russian side, the use of the MiG-31 reflects a relatively disciplined and rational approach. The old aircraft is not forced to be something it is not. Rather, it is placed in a position where its strengths are most relevant and its weaknesses least exposed. In the war in Ukraine, the MiG-31 is not a decisive factor on its own. It works alongside other systems such as ground-launched missiles, bombers, and air defense networks. Yet, precisely because of its specific and measured role, this aircraft retains strategic value. The MiG-31 demonstrates that in modern warfare, advantage does not always come from the newest or most advanced technology. Sometimes advantage comes from a correct understanding of how, when, and to what extent a system should be used. This aircraft may not often appear on screens, yet as long as each of its takeoffs still triggers nationwide vigilance on the opponent's side, the MiG-31 continues to fulfill its function. In a conflict increasingly defined by distance, time, and psychological pressure, a presence like this is often the most influential.